Good evening, sharps and squares, degenerates and casual bettors. I'm the Wizard of Odds, Christopher Smith, and this is the SEC Country Gambling Show presented by MyBookie. We're live every Thursday night from Atlanta, Georgia, and on this show we have one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to win you some cold, hard cash. All right, I'm here with my co-host, Steve the Sheriff Petrella. How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm fantastic. Can't believe we're at the halfway point of the college football season already. It always comes up quickly, but chaos ensued last week, and I think we can expect more of the same until the end of November.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Let's look at my power rankings through week 7 of the season, about at the halfway point. Let us know in the comments where you disagree with this. I think even though Auburn lost last week, I still have 3 teams at the very top of the SEC. Now, of course, Texas A&M has come on really strong since losing Nick Starkel at quarterback. And Kentucky at 5-1 is 7th now, even though I don't think they're that great of a team. More on that later. Looking at the second half of my rankings, there's a lot of bad teams here. Florida got a little unlucky being 9th. The last 2 games they lost, LSU and A&M, were tough games. And then below Florida, pretty much just garbage through the rest of the SEC. So let's go ahead and move on to the Week 8 lines and take a look at those and see where the games line up this week. I don't think this is the best week in SEC football, to be honest.
A lot of SEC teams off.
There's only 5 games, and one of those is Idaho at Missouri. And then the closest line that we have, there's only one game that's closer than 12 points right now, and that's LSU and Ole Miss. I think that's a great line, so we'll avoid Missouri game. That's going to be boring unless they lose.
They're only a 14-point favorite
14
against
favorite.
Idaho?
Barry Odom needs to win this game to keep his job. LSU and Ole Miss, that's a good line. Don't bet on it. So we'll just go ahead and get right into the games.
Yeah, this Tennessee-Alabama game has, significant for a couple of reasons, but historically, it's significant for one reason in particular. The biggest underdog Tennessee has ever been in the history of the program, which is pretty remarkable. Yeah,
that is pretty crazy. 35.5 points. You've never seen Tennessee be that big of an underdog. No. It's historical. And I think, like you've mentioned before, Steve, we're getting to the point in the season where we kind of know where these teams are. And I think there's a very strong narrative. Butch Jones is going to get fired. Tennessee's awful. Alabama's great. But I think the problem at this point in the year is people believe in their narrative so much that the line actually swings way too far. I think that's the theme with my picks this week in the SEC. Damian Harris, the running back at Alabama, has averaged 9.2 yards per carry this year. Unbelievable. He's been upgraded to probable. He's got a leg injury. And if he can run off a 75-yard touchdown run as he's done in each of the last 2 games, then maybe Alabama's explosive. Jalen Hurts at quarterback is not a guy who's going to throw downfield in Tennessee. Alabama's going to dink and dunk down the field even if they dominate this game. And if Tennessee can find a way to score 7 to 10 points, I think they'll cover this big number. Jarrett Garantano started last week for Tennessee. Their offense looked a little better. They settled on 3 field goals. If they can turn one of those to a touchdown against Alabama, Tennessee's going to cover. So not many people are going to tell you this, but I like Tennessee in this game. I think Tennessee plus 35.5 is just a little too rich for me. Yeah. If they're down 42-0 late, they can still cover with a touchdown. So I like Tennessee.
You've mentioned this a couple times this year. Is this one of those games where Saban sort of takes it easy on Butch Jones and doesn't try to prove a point or run up the score or anything like that?
Yeah, I think at this point Saban's less worried about Butch Jones and more worried about the fact that beyond Calvin Ridley in the passing game and beyond Damian, they've got plenty of running backs, but they need to develop more playmakers at receiver. And I think he wants to get Tua some more reps. I think he wants to get some other receivers involved. So I don't know that it's a case that Alabama is going to go easy on Jones in the second half, but they will involve a lot of players.
All right. Second game on your slate, of course, Auburn, which was your number 2 team in your SEC power rankings before dropping them to 3 this week, laying more than 2 touchdowns at Arkansas against an Arkansas team that's just looked dreadful so far this season.
Yeah, this game opened about 13. Arkansas is a 13-point favorite. I really liked that. Austin Allen is probably not going to play in this game with a shoulder injury, and Arkansas's offensive line allows their quarterbacks just to get abused and probably criminally so each and every week. Cole Kelly is probably going to start there. He's 6'7". That's a tall tree that's going to fall a lot in this game. The only issue that I have with Auburn is they're beat to hell right now. Auburn's 2-5 against the spread on the year. Arkansas's 1-5. It's really tough to bet on either of these teams. Casey Dunn is out with a leg injury. Auburn offensive lineman. They dismissed Kyle Davis at receiver from the team this week. And then they have an offensive lineman and 2 key defensive starters that are questionable in this game. Auburn does. So they beat to hell. The line's up to 15.5 now. I don't like it as much here as I did when it was lower. I'm certainly not betting on Arkansas in this game. And if you force me to bet on this game, I'm leaning toward Auburn, but I don't like the value now as opposed to what it was earlier in the week. If you have to pick this game, though, bet on Auburn.
All right. And the last one, we got Kentucky against Mississippi State, which is sort of a tale of 2 seasons for each team. Mississippi State looked great in the first couple weeks. We're just destroying the number, averaging they're 30 points better than the number consistently every week, and have kind of come back down to earth. Whereas Kentucky, 2-4 against the spread, 5-1 straight up, won a lot of close games, but I mean, they're winning games. They're catching 12 points at Mississippi State. What do you like in this one? Yeah,
you don't see many SEC teams that are 5-1 ranked 55th. That's what Bill Connolly at SB Nation has them ranked. Kentucky's just not great. They have not beaten a team with a winning SEC record in the Mark Stoops era. That being said, Mississippi State is getting way too much credit here at home. They're a 12-point favorite. They're just not that explosive of a team. They ran the ball 54 times last week against BYU. Aries Williams, the running back, is not explosive. You're not scared of any of their receivers beating you over the top. So I do think Mississippi State's the better football team here. Mississippi State's defense is the 6th best unit in the SEC if you look at points per possession, either on offense or defense. So their defense is good enough to shut down Kentucky. Kentucky's got a pretty good defense as well, and Jordan Jones, their best defensive player, or one of their best, is probable. He has a shoulder injury. So I expect this to be a game where Mississippi State runs the ball a lot, takes a long time to get down the field, and also think Kentucky with Steven Johnson, he's okay as a quarterback. Mississippi State has some people that are going to bother him and disrupt him. So I don't expect a lot of offense in this game. So either team getting 12 points is too many to me. Kentucky's not as good as 5-1, but they're also not as bad as this line's indicating. So I'm definitely taking Kentucky plus the 12 points in this game.
All right, and as always, you got to tell the people where you're taking these games.
That's right. Definitely go to mybookie.ag. It's the best sports book in the business. And not only that, because we're in tight with the MyBookie folks, you can use the promo code SECWizard here and type that in the promo code bar at mybookie.ag. Get up to 100% match for your deposit. So if you deposit $500, you can get up to a $500 bonus from MyBookie. They're the best sports book in the business, and you've heard about them from us every week. Definitely bet there if you haven't already. And we're going to give you maybe 1 or 2 more picks that you can use to bet on this week. And you'll see those up on the screen here, some other games that I like. I do like the under in the Kentucky-Mississippi State game, as I mentioned previously. I think that total should be around 49. It's sitting at 45.5. There's a lot of other games here that you see. You see Kansas plus 37.5. That's the big theme this week. There's some teams that are too big of an underdog right now that are not as bad as maybe they seem on paper, even though Kansas is a terrible team. Tennessee's a terrible team. Those are just huge numbers, and those numbers have not done very well this year. Favorites that are huge favorites this year in college football have not done very well. So there's my picks for this week. We got one more order of business today, Steve. That's our lock of the week. He's won 4 out of the last 5 weeks, going for 5 out of 6 this week. That's a really good heater right there.
That's a heater.
It's making you a lot of money.
Yep.
Let's see what the mystery man or lock of the week guy has to say this week.
3, 2, 1. Lock of the week.
Kentucky Wildcats.
Lock of the week.
Oh, you both have been on a couple of the same picks the last few weeks. Texas A&M last week, got the Cats this week.
I'm celebrating because he took Kentucky. I like Kentucky a lot, so that just gives me even more confidence.
You gotta feel
Kentucky's
good about
the lock
that.
of the week this week. They're getting 12 points in Starkville. I mean, come on. But you're definitely going to go to mybookie.ag, bet on Kentucky, win yourself a lot of money. We're going to go enjoy a mediocre week 8 of SEC football, but I always love football anyway. We're going to make some money. That's going to make it a lot better.
Yep.
For Steve Petrella, the Sheriff, I'm Christopher Smith, the Wizard of Odds, reminding you that good teams win and great teams cover. Good luck, everybody, and we'll see you next week.